Hi, and welcome to everyone. We're going to be looking at what's new in the 2022 release of Civil 3D, InfraWorks, and Recap. There are many other applications as part of the AEC collections, but these are the ones that we're going to be focusing on today and some of the tools and enhancements to them. My name is Leo Lavayen. I work with IMAGINiT Technologies. I have about 18 years of experience in the industry, doing on the side of the reseller channel, doing technical support, training, configuration. I specialize on the civil side of the AUTODESK line of products, which includes Civil 3D, InfraWorks, Map 3D, and of course, the basic AutoCAD tool. So let's start going through the presentation here today. We're going to be looking at some of the enhancements and added functionality to these applications to help you make better design decisions, be able to work more efficiently, and hopefully also reduce costs. As we move forward here, something that I would like to touch on is all of these tools are going to be working towards collaborating, and they are going to be using the cloud services that Autodesk provides. That is the BIM 360 or the Docs services that are currently available. To best utilize these cloud services, and some I'm going to be showing off a little bit of as we go through this presentation, you want to make sure that your team is on the same release of the design platform. This cloud technologies has started in the Service Pack 2 of release 2020, continued through 2021, and of course it's available in 2022. So you want to have your team on the same release of the software, the same service pack or patch to whatever version of software you're working with, and what makes everything talk together to the cloud service and to your desktop is what's called the desktop connector. And you want to make sure that your team is running on the same version of that desktop connector. That currently it's the v14.8, 0.01, 0.1381. So a little bit deeper than I wanted to get into, but all this cloud collaboration needs to make sure that you have the appropriate version or the most current version throughout your entire team. So a little touch on that. As we go through, we're going to be looking at Civil 3D and its enhancements. In this case, we're going to be focusing on three different areas. There's a grading optimization that was released in this year, 2022, for Civil 3D. It is an add-on application that works within the Civil platform. There has been enhancements to connected alignments, and I will show those off. And we're also going to talk a little bit about Project Explorer for Civil 3D. There has been an updated for pressure networks, so we can talk to those elements. Again, the Project Explorer is another add-on app that works directly from within Civil 3D. As we move forward here, the first thing I want to talk about is grading optimization for Civil 3D and its potential. It is brand new. It's more than just the grading tools that you're used to inside of Civil 3D, more than just working with feature lines and grading objects. This allows the software to define an area you're going to be working in and conduct a design study and optimization, very similar to the optimizations that you have perhaps seen in InfraWorks. It can generate multiple grading options for you. You can view in real time how the civil software is creating and modeling terrain, and at any point you can tell it to stop and see the results of the design and deliver not only the design set that meets your needs, but deliver several different design grading options. It is an amazing tool set and brand new for this year. I would like to talk about that. This is a extra install to Civil 3D. And in my case here, I'm showing you my Autodesk desktop app where I went through and looked for it. And it is an extra add-on that you have to make sure that you install on top of Civil 3D 2022. It is included with the collections. Otherwise, you're going to need its own entitlement. And what it could work here, I'm just going to show this little portion of a video here, and then I'll show a live option of it, because it's such a deep tool that allows us to do grading. Now, you'll have to work through the software, make sure you install the tool set there, and you'll see how you open palettes. These enhanced grading tools allow you to define the grading areas and the type of grading you wish to accomplish. On top of that, you define your design criteria, your minimums, your maximums, your elevations, your slope constraints, along with that, how you want the terrain to be modeled. From here, once you launch the tool, it opens up and Depending on stylization, you'll hit the go button and it starts optimizing, showing you the terrain being modeled. And at any point that you want, you can hit a stop to the analysis and see the results, and it jumps back into Civil 3D, creating that particular terrain. It is immediate inside of Civil 3D. There is no third-party app. It is an application that runs within the software, allowing you to do single or multiple areas in design. Because there are different design criteria that are available within the palette, you can define those areas, define your terrain, define your targets, and just let it rip. It will run through, showing you your design areas, in this case, showing you multiple design platforms, multiple pads in a subdivision, and resulting in a final design terrain. It does offer functionality for bridges. Last year was a jump on bridges from Civil into InfraWorks. Again, in this year release for the optimization, it does offer functionality to design bridges and how to optimize the design there to make sure that our designs are meeting the needed requirements and the grading volumes are staying in check. It is all new to this year. An amazing tool set that I would look forward to having it work a bit more, and I would recommend you guys staying tuned to any training material and so much information that's available out there. Let's see here. Oh, I jumped out of my presentation. Along with that element, we have enhancements to connected alignments that allow us to create intersections by hand. Now, intersections have been a portion of Civil 3D for a while. Matter of fact, this connected alignments was released earlier, but in this year release, we're able to create more complex loop ramps, allowing me to design not only the alignments, but the vertical profiles. Incredible tool sets that allow me to create these types of designs and have it all be dynamically tied to the base center lines. As I move forward here, the other option that has been added or enhanced is Project Explorer for Civil 3D. And this was available last year. Again, it's one of those applications that get added into Civil 3D. It is part of your AEC collection. Otherwise, it's going to have to be added in as an extra entitlement. And it is an amazing tool set that allows you to read Civil 3D objects. And this last year, it opened up the ability to speak to pressure pipes. And I'll demonstrate this. Project Explorer for Civil 3D was released last year, and like I said before here, it's an add-on app that you have to go. Again, I'm showing off my application installer, and make sure that you download and install this. It will need its own entitlement. If you're part of the collections, it's yours. You will just need to go ahead and install it. It does not install with Civil 3D. When you're installing Civil 3D, you're not going to get a little checkbox for it. You have to go out there and get it. Now, IMAGINiT has a multi-post. I think it's a 5-part post. You'll see inside of here, I have a little link to our post here. Our own Bryant has created several of these posts talking about the functionality of it, and I'll demo a little bit here in this presentation. So let's jump into Civil 3D and let's take a look at what we're able to do here. I'm going to open this little grading scenario here, and I just really quickly want to show these options. I am not going to focus on the use of feature lines and grading. That's not what I would like to look at. On the Analyze tab, we will open the option for creating grading objects. And this is where we start looking at the new functionality of the software. We have grading object browsers, and we have palettes that open up. And talk about losing space in Civil 3D. If you have multiple monitors, this will work really, really great here to try to look at the different types of grading elements to set your design criteria, your minimums and your maximums. There's a lot available in here to be able to set your zones and your areas of work here. So all I want to do here is talk about perhaps creating something really quick here, perhaps a little building pad, and saying I would like to create a building pad off of this guy right here. And setting then my options for my elevations, having a minimum elevation here of, I don't know, 740, perhaps to a maximum elevation of 766. And from there, just giving it the go. From here, I would like to then create that, that zone for my grading and allow it to create my building pad here. Once I'm ready to go, I've defined it, I told it the area, and I can hit the little button over here to launch the optimization. It is an add-on to Civil 3D, and it launches directly from within the software, and I get this little extra box over here, giving me all my grading optimization options. Right now, I only have the one grading pad shown off here. Currently in this drawing, I only have the one terrain. If I close out this palette, you'll see I have the only one existing surface over here. And as I launch Civil 3D, I can set the little button to optimize here, and you can see the terrain started to get modeled a little bit differently. You see the contours. Not sure how well that's being broadcasted to the internet here. And once the terrain looks like and gives me that feel that I want, you can see the immediate feedback that I'm getting here from within the software. I'm not going to let it run too long for here. I'm going to go ahead and say stop. And once it's finished there, I can send those optimization results back into the software. Come on, buddy. Finish it off. I should have left it run a little bit more, I guess. Oh, I didn't finish. Come on. The optimization is still running. Now it's going to make me look like a liar. Let me try one more time here. I'll let it run for a little bit longer then. It is an extra tool set that gets added to the Civil software. There's going to be so many options that are available inside of here, a little bit different to what you've been used to working inside of Civil 3D. And if I let it sit here for long enough, there it is. It gives me the option to send my optimized results. It closes out of the box. It sends me back to Civil 3D. It creates a new surface for me. I can stylize it any way that I want to. I'm going to add some, let's see here, borders and contours, finish it off. And you'll see then the resulting surface inside of Civil 3D. So in trying to model just this pad here, you'll see how it changed my terrain. There are many utilities for this. This is brand new technology. And I hope you guys like it. It still blows my mind to see how great Civil 3D is moving forward to doing some automation for grading and how much we've worked towards inside of Civil 3D. And it still gets me excited when I see it today. So that is one of the new functionalities of the Civil software. Let's see what else we have here. I was working with intersections, and what I would like to do is take a look at connected alignments. Now, I am able to create intersections using the Civil software. Yes, I can. But talking about creating more complex design scenarios, sometimes you have to do a little bit more of a step-by-step to start creating what you need to. And from the software, we have had the option to create what were connected alignments. You give it your main baseline, you give it your side street, and you tell the location of which quadrant you want to work with. If you accept the location, it then gives you design criteria here. And we've always had this option. What we get in this year release are more parameters. So these options inside of here really allow me to speak to the type of curve that I'm going to create here. Let's create a, 50-meter curve, giving me my options for offsets. It will look at the connected profiles, the profiles on the main roads, and create a design profile for me. So I will switch over to my layout design so it can create what I need to in those streets. Looking at my cross slopes as well. As I hit OK, it can create that design alignment for me, that connected alignment, and the vertical profile along with it. So if I take a look at this design here, I am able to start looking at perhaps creating a surface profile and drawing in a profile view. And I have not only the design that it is the existing terrain, but the proposed profile cutting through it as well. That has been available for a while now. What is a little bit newer is the fact that I'm able to create more of an interchange or a loop. So if I go back up here to the option of creating alignments, again, looking at the option to create a connected alignment, what I'm going to be looking at here is, again, alignment 1 and alignment 2. Give it the area that I want to work with. And in this case, what I could focus our attention is, I would like to take a look at the parameters and perhaps put a different size curve inside of here. How about 20-meter curve or a 10-meter curve? And I start looking at the type of design that I want to put in. I would like to put a spiral curve spiral with angle greater than 180 degrees, allow me to create a spiral. Once again, I will pull design elements so I can get my proposed design created for me, looking at the elevations that I'm coming off of, and of course I'm running an offset. So to create these interchanges, I go ahead and hit OK. Let me go back and return to edit. It says it can't generate what it wants to. So let's go with 10 meters, sure. And we will take a look at our design now. Well, now it failed on me. Great. 180 degrees, curve. I don't know. We'll create something smaller. All right. Now it's completely dying on me. Let's move down to another intersection over here. Then alignment. Create connected alignments from alignment 1 to alignment 2 on this side, and let's give it a much smaller parameter here. What did I use before? Sure, 10 meters. And well, it's getting all kinds of heartburn. Well, let me figure this out one more time over here. It is just failing on me. First, second on this side, and we'll create a small. Does it work? It doesn't like the offset values. Well, it's failing on me consecutively in this drawing. I'm not sure why. I was just testing this a minute ago in the same exact drawing, and the option to create these connected alignments for my design should allow me to put my design in this area. I would like to be greater than 180 degrees. Let's use a 10 meter. And it's failing. I'm not sure what's causing the hiccups here, guys, but it does allow me to create spirals in this case and create the interchanges. And that's a function that I have in this year release. And I'll just work with the connected alignment that I have here. It is all dynamically tied to my design. So if I do end up changing any radiuses or lengths, all this design constraints here will be followed. If I decide to change my main line here as well, the connected alignments will also auto adjust for me. So that's a bit of functionality added in this year release to keep my design be dynamic, allow me to create and calculate profiles and their cross slopes to be able to create these interchanges or on-off ramps. Not sure why my other alignment was failing in this case. I have another tool set that I would like to talk about here that has been available from the software for a while now. And if I just open up another drawing here, I'm gonna open my tutorials, and if I was looking at, for example, pipe networks here, what I can do in this year release is talk to pressurized networks. But if you've never seen this tool set before, as far as what it's referred to is called Project Explorer, and what it allows me to is to speak to all my design data that's on my screen here, and instead of going element by element to try to make adjustments or changes, it allows me to speak to them in a tabular format. I'm able to go through and change my assemblies, for example. I'm able to change my corridor design parameters. Looking at, for example, my pipe networks, I'm allowed to go through and start making changes. And on top of all this, what it also allows me to do is to run reports from the information I see on the screen. I like what it can do because it offers me a one-stop shop to be able to run through design edits. Allows me to speak to many objects at once. It's very similar to using the prospector. It's just using the prospector and a Project Explorer window. And the potential here, as you'll see if you visit our site, we have several write-ups on this, is to be able to create reports, edit multiple objects at once, look at reference objects, and it really allows for a little bit more power as far as pulling information and making edits in one place. It's interesting technology. It's been available for a few years now, and I think that it's worth taking note on what we're able to do with Project Explorer, as it allows us to tap into all the civil information that's on screen and edit simultaneous objects or even create reports. I think it's a really, really great functionality that has been available from within the software. And like I mentioned before, it is an add-on app that runs within Civil 3D. So you're not running externally. You can run it directly from within the drawing. Whatever changes you make, it's going to take you directly back into your design drawing from within Civil 3D. I think it's really interesting functionality and part of the updates to Civil 3D in this 2022 release. All right, let me go back up here to my PowerPoint presentation. InfraWorks has also experienced some updates. There has been some changes to how the way the girder can be analyzed or created. Awesome functionality with decorations and component roads. There have been updates to vegetation and an update to the model builder as well. As far as creating more complex, realistic bridge girders, what we have here is the ability of going into Inventor, designing that 3D model with advanced functionality and advanced, more realistic cross sections of my features, and bring them directly into InfraWorks. Now, I'm not going to go into the Inventor side of the Autodesk products. I'm just going to go directly into InfraWorks and show you how the potential that we have from within InfraWorks and what has to do with these bridge elements, which last year experienced a big jump in how to move bridge elements from within Civil 3D and into InfraWorks and round tripping into other applications. I think this is another jump towards getting into bridge modeling and having it be more realistic. We have road decorations and vegetation that has been added to this year. We have had decorations for a while. We have had, of course, vegetations available for a while. But what happens here is we have now decorations that give you a couple more parameters for editing, especially if you bring roadways from Civil 3D. We can pull feature lines. So if you did bring a road component from Civil 3D, you can work off of the edge of pavement or the back of curb or maybe a sidewalk, and then add in design elements. Along with being able to add vegetation. And what has happened in this year release, that vegetation, we experience performance issues in earlier releases when you start adding too many trees or too many shrubs, having all those little parameters in there, those little components tended to cause performance issues. And now what happens is that criteria has been modified to work on a higher performing method to be able to show off the details that we want to. So I'll show that as well inside of InfraWorks. The model builder has also been enhanced. It still works very similar to what it was before, but one of the things I like the most is when you start selecting your area, being able to give it a name, give it a description, and giving it a coordinate system, it's a little bit more obvious that it's actually running through the creation of a model for you. And I will show that as well. A little enhancement to it. I like what we can do from within InfraWorks for these three little pieces here. So as we jump over into InfraWorks, I'll start with looking at Model Builder. And if we want to open up a model, we of course create or select the location where we're at here. Last time I'm actually in Raleigh, North Carolina, so it pops my map open here. That's what I was working at with last. I do have a couple options to specify the area I'm working with here. I do like the function of importing a polygon. So if I happen to have an area that I've defined from before, project limits that I've defined from before, I can leverage that. In this case, I'm going to get in a little tighter just to take a look at where we're working with here. And as you start looking at wanting to create this model that I have here, what I'm able to do is look at creating this model here, and gives me the ability of giving a model name, giving a description. And something that was added last year, just as this interface was modified, is setting a coordinate system. Because for so many years it had defaulted to the LL84, and if you don't do anything, it's just you can default it to the LL84, so it's your lat and long. But if you happen to be working on a coordinate system that you know, you can assign a coordinate system to your design, and you can be working in this case in North Carolina. I'm not going to create this model. I just want to show the option that we have here. And it's a little bit more obvious than we're creating a model. Before Model Builder, you would hit the button and it would just kind of stay there. And I ended up in some classes, and even myself, hitting the create model a couple of times, and would end up with whatever the model name was, 1, 2, and 3, because it wasn't obvious it was creating a model for me. So I like that it did change it just a little bit for me to see it on screen. That I am creating a model. As I start up with any model that I draw up, I will talk about the 3 different updates to the software here for bridges, for decorations, and for vegetation. Working with bridges, I already have a bridge design in this particular drawing here. What we have here is the ability of looking at the design elements within a bridge. And if you're unaware of one of the newer updates to the software, is being able to show or hide bridge elements. So as I run through here, you may notice that the bridge disappears and reappears for me. And let me see if I can make my design work a little bit easier. I'm going to switch my design from conceptual view to engineering view. It may make my model work a little bit easier. I currently have so many things being open in the background here. I have Civil, I have Recap, I have InfraWorks. I'm broadcasting my session, so it does cause a little bit of performance issues when I'm doing so much work at once. Therefore, I change my view to be a little bit less detailed. What has changed in this year is dealing with these girders, and what I can do in this year is yes, modify them, which I've had the option to, but what I can do is load components that have created inside of the platform by Autodesk called, oh geez, it's escaping my name. The name escapes me. The 3D design mechanical package, Inventor. And with Inventor, I can design more realistic girders and all the details that may be needed, and I can load them up and have them readily available for me to work with. I'm just using what's out of the box here from within my suite. Whatever I end up designing, I would have the parameters that I've defined inside of Inventor being shown off to me directly for my dimensions, for any attributes that that particular girder had that I added in. They would be all editable on screen. What I enjoy about this year release is having to go in and add that particular design to any other girders here. And as I select that design on screen, I'm able to right click and I'm able to apply them to a portion of my bridge, all of them, all inside or all interior or exterior, or per selection. So in this case, I'll do all interior, and the software will go through and see all the changes that I made to this one girder, and then take that stylization, that model, and apply them to the rest of my bridge, whether it was all of them, all interior, all exterior, and it updates my bridge for me. This, of course, if I wanted to then create details, I can push this model out to Revit, and in Revit create a structural detailing, which was an update last year. All right. So that's the update for bridges in this year release. I have roadway decorations that I can add. Let me see a little bookmark over here for my road. Whether it is a component road, it has to be a component road, guys. And you can take basic roads and convert them on over to component roads really easily. Or if it's a roadway that came from Civil 3D, once it is a component road or one of these intelligent roads, I have the ability of selecting, and on here I can right click and choose to start adding decorations. Now I have had this ability before, but what I'm able to do is now it gives me a little bit more power. Let's add some light poles on here. And I select the feature in which I want my light poles to run through. Whether they're light poles, trash cans, fire hydrants, I select the feature that I want to run off of. And on here, it is dynamic. So as I start working with these decorations, as I select them, it highlights all of them for me, and it gives me options to adjust them. These adjustments are instantaneous here and allows me to really work with my design and show off what I want to do here. In this case, they're rotated to the wrong side. I can go here and say, hey, how about we give it, let's give it a $1.80 here and have them face the street for me. And that change is immediate. Along with that, what I'm able to do is adjust the starting and end station. As I selected that design element, I just added this decoration, started at station 36 and change. How about I started at station 100? So 100 feet in, that's where my decorations start. So I get functionality to make my roadway look a little bit neater. One thing that I enjoyed throughout this release with these decorations is sometimes I need to add jersey barriers or fences, and something that was added in the earlier releases is the fact that I can allow tilting. So instead of looking at a wall or one of the sound barriers or jersey barriers that might look like they're stepping through the terrain, I can have it be tilted and have it model through the terrain a lot neater in this year release, because I do have that function. I have the ability of then adjusting any offsets or scaling, because the object that I have may have been something that was modeled and maybe just something that came out of InfraWorks, and I can change how this sucker looks like here, and has been updated in this year release to be a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, and making my roadways just tell a better story here for me. So that deals with roadway decorations. It has to be done off of a component road, or if you brought it from Civil 3D, it could be done through a civil road. All right, let's take a look at perhaps running through and working with adding a little bit of a landscape area here. And I'm going to set this to top, and I can go through and start looking at my environment. And for a while, we've been able to create row of trees and the stand of trees. Depending on what you would like to add, I'm going to go down here, and there are all of these new vegetations coming down here at the bottom. Whatever these plants can be here, and we have had materials updated in earlier releases so it could look better, but in these cases, these are 3D objects. I'm just going to go here and select into this little area here. And as I finish that off, I get vegetations. Come on, buddy. And I'm not sure if you can hear the fan on my computer just started on, so it sounds like a jet taking off. And what I get is a vegetation area. Now, as I start zooming in, you'll be able to see that vegetation pop in place. I do have the ability of adjusting the density of my vegetation. It depends on what view you have set on how much detail you see. I'm currently set to this view of engineering. These are the views that come out of the box. I'm gonna switch it over to conceptual. Lights turn on a little bit more. And as I zoom into my design here, there is the little shrub that got created for me. There's quite a bit of detail on them. See if I select and make it a little bit bigger. So these guys could have a little bit more detail to try to create a better view of my landscaped areas. I can adjust the overall density of this information. And the software has been changed. So not only do I have new content to my vegetation library, this has been made so it really works and enhances performance when we start adding this level of detail. Just to allow me to tell a better story from within my InfraWorks model. So you see new models and a tool set that allows you to really have the software work in a way that it can still perform graphically really, really quickly with this added detail here. So I like that we can do this. Along with a couple years back, we did get an enhanced patterns for my filled-in areas. So that was the last update done into this last year here. So those are the three pieces that were updated in 2022. Returning to my presentation. Recap Pro has also been enhanced. Recap allows me to take my scans and analyze them, clean them up, create recap scans that can then be taken into Civil 3D to create terrains, or into InfraWorks to also create models. Recap is the tool meant to look at my scans and manage them. We used to be able to bring in point clouds directly into Civil 3D and into AutoCAD, but because of the density of them, this software came up and the functionality was removed a few years back. Now, what happened in this year is we got the ability of taking my scans to a mesh, being able to take my designs and publishing them out, and really leverage the cloud storage because as Autodesk moved from the Autodesk 360 platform to the BIM 360 platform and to the collaboration now into the docs, it then filled in the gap that we were missing from before, allowing me to create meshes for my scans. Taking these from within the software and creating a mesh, choosing the quality of the resolution of my scan, being able to take this information and push it out to the BIM 360 platform, where I can then share with anyone who is part of my BIM 360 or my docs cloud service to be able to view, annotate, and review these models. As well, the option that I was missing from before is to be able to take and leverage a cloud storage that we lost for a little bit with when the Autodesk the A360 platform disappeared, where we were able to take all the data and all the imagery and load it on a cloud service. Now it's been ported over, and we can use the Autodesk docs and the Autodesk BIM 360 or the Autodesk Drive. Those are the enhancements to Recap. And as I go on over here, let me see if I can open Recap. Cancel that out. Let's go over here to recap. And open up this application. So the interface hasn't changed much from 1 year to the next. Recap Pro allows me to take models and create them. If I open this model up, allows me to look at the ability of creating meshes. As I create that mesh, it's going to tell me where I want to push that mesh out. And I've already changed my path. Earlier was looking for the old A360 location, which has then disappeared. Now you can see how it's pulling over to my AEC docs. I am using the cloud service for Civil 3D. I do have the options of pushing over different meshes here for myself. And it is not a building or an object. I'm looking at a site that was scanned. I am not going to run through the whole process inside of here, but I do have the option of creating a mesh from a set of pictures. And that's what we're looking at here. This was a site that was flown. And what I started with was with pictures. So what Recap then allows me to do is really start leveraging all this information. Now, as I start creating a project, let me open up here the interface to how I got into that imagery here. I will open up Recap Photo. And the enhancements here is that now Recap and Recap Photo can talk to the cloud storage. And in this case, depending on the type of scan that I have, whether it was an object that was scanned or an aerial view that I'm running with, let's see, a building that was scanned, or a site, inside site that was scanned, or a site that was flown. I do have a site that was flown that I can easily get into, so I'm going to start that command up. And the ability that I have in this year release is if the, stop it, I hit back, is that if I am working within a team and I am now putting all my imagery in a cloud location, which is done through the Autodesk 360 service or Autodesk Docs, I can now find them and bring them in. The ability of Recap Photo is, I'm just going to go ahead and select the pictures that I have here, is to take this imagery and create and stitch up this imagery to be able to create a cloud model for me. So from pictures, we get into some sort of cloud model. If I go through here, I'll say create. I'm not going to run through the whole gist here. I do have the ability of creating a singular ortho, creating a point cloud, and this here is what allows me to really leverage Recap to take photos and create terrain or create models. This is the first step that I'm working with here, and the enhancement in this year is that I'm able to pull imagery from a BIM 360 location, from that cloud storage, or as I create this information, to be able to go out and push it to that same cloud storage location where I may be pulling the imagery initially. So I may be working with a surveyor, or I may be working with a company that I hired out that can be adding onto my cloud project this information, and I'm able to process it. I'm not going to process this information for this particular site I already have, and it can take anywhere between 30 minutes to 3 hours to process. So I'm just going to go directly back into Recap. And what Recap allows me to do here, guys, is to take aerial imagery with site control and create a cloud that allows me to create a mesh if it was a site or an internal scan. And if it happens to be a mesh, I can process it. And this one took about 10 minutes to process. I'm going to go ahead and close this guy out and show off as an example some of the projects that I can open up that allow me to show off these meshes that I'm able to take a look. And I don't love this. I don't love this one. Let me see if I can have another one. I forget which ones I have here. Here we go, a little bit better. Taking these sites as they were scanned, and then start working with perhaps taking in and running measurements, adding annotations to what I have here, and working with a team as far as not even going into Civil 3D into InfraWorks, but using our scans and using our meshes to be able to convey information that was picked up on site with the team, either noting where something should be or something should not be from within our pictures. That's what Recap does. It allows me to take that site content and create objects or create terrain for me to use. Going back into Recap. Oh, did I open it up? Here we go. Taking this information here from Recap, it allows me to run through that cloud, these cloud services, which we were missing for a while back. Once Autodesk 360 was retired, all that information came back, and we have now the ability of collaborating at with the cloud service that Autodesk has to offer. These are the enhancements that 2022 had for Recap, and that's pretty much what I have here to speak about for Recap, is the fact that I can take all my information now and put it up at the cloud storage, process, push, and pull information from a cloud location, which was something that I was missing from in the earlier releases. And that's pretty much the presentation here, ladies and gentlemen. What's new for 2022 for the Civil 3D for